tonight on a very special Volcano High. Hello everyone, welcome to Madhog and Mati Talk About Games. That wasn't the original title, but it's fine. We are here to relax and enjoy a cinematic visual novel that had a somewhat turbulent development history.
Hold on, should I hear some sounds?
Not right now. The menu is strangely silent. The music comes later on. It is a purposeful choice. You'll see why. So as I said, this is Goodbye Volcano High. It is... They described it as a cinematic, story-driven adventure, I believe. It's basically a visual novel.
I vote yes.
I don't think this is...
And yes, before you're asking, these are supposed to be dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen pictures of this game.
You did a great job.
Maybe a trailer.
I'm going to do the opposite of what I usually do in this case, and I'm going to actually reveal to you that this has already become one of my games of the year. The year being 2023 for posterity. Here I am, making a choice. And now the game begins, and it's a flashback.
You must be wondering how we got here.
You know what? That basically summarizes it, in a manner of speaking. So there is a bit of rhythm gameplay in this title.
Oh yeah, I think I remember now the trailer that I saw.
I'm going to give you a bit of context and background for this game. Goodbye Volcano High was first announced several years ago. It faced multiple delays, probably because there was a pandemic in the middle. Imagine that. Also, they rebooted the entire narrative. I've read up that this game started life as a dating simulator. But they decided at the very end to go for a more straightforward, narratively focused visual novel. And as such, this does not play at all like you would expect a game of this kind to play. There are choices that you can make, but they are mostly for flavor, and they will at best unlock some extra scenes with all the characters you can have an interaction.
So all roads lead to Rome.
Yes, in a manner of speaking, there is only one way this story concludes, only one true ending. The journey getting there is mostly straightforward, save for a few different scenes that you might unlock and different interactions that you might see, etc., etc. As I said, it is laser focused in the story it wants to tell and the themes it wants to explore. No matter what you do, no matter the choices you make, you will only have one ending to this story, and that is the point that the game makes elegantly. Yeah. This is a story about teenagers on the cusp of adulthood dealing with the fear and anxiety that the future brings when their visions for themselves and what they are going to be hits the harsh wall of reality, of events outside of their control, that they cannot do anything about it. So they are left with frustration and anger and sadness. And this is a game about dealing with all these feelings and also about what are the true priorities you might want to have in life, as opposed to what you thought you wanted for yourself. I deeply resonate with what this game is going for, as you might have guessed. This is our protagonist, Fang, pronounced they, them.
They, them.
Yes, they are a cool, goth, punk, indie rocking pteranodon with angel wings. I don't know about you, but that's peak DeviantArt character design circa 2006, but matured like a fine wine. That's pretty much the energy I get from the art direction in this game, and I say that in the best possible way. There is a nostalgic quality to how these characters are designed, like a small teenage child drawing inspiration from their favorite anime and cartoons and making their own dinosaur persona. But like I said, more polished as a design overall. It shows how this artist had grown, this ideal artist I am making up in my head as I describe how this character design artistic direction feels to me.
Hey Sib, are you playing the guitar right now?
Anyway, the day begins with some proper sibling interaction. This is Nasser. He's good. I like him, he's very good, he's the best. Respect my boy.
So, is this like Life is Strange but without supernatural shenanigans?
Well,
Me too, by the way. Not all of us
no,
can coast on our
because
talent.
this is good,
Some of us
first of all.
To each of their own.
Okay, and as I said, there are some choices that you can make in Life is Strange, and I'm being generous here, mind you, that might determine a binary
Well, I can't give you that
ending
now.
of some description.
Still have time?
There is only one ending to this, because you don't really have the power to change what's to come. That's the... Ironically,
I mean, that...
Tomorrow.
Ironically, the queer dinosaur visual novel game here
So
is the
everyone
most
else?
realistic of the two.
It's all rigged. Okay, I'm leaving. There's some breakfast for you downstairs.
Have a good day.
I see more in common with Night in the Woods, if I'm being honest, and not just because of the anthropomorphic characters, but because the themes it explores are very similar. That anxiety and depression caused by our confrontation between what the future might hold and what our present is, and our perception of ourselves, identity and all that, all coming together into a big pool of feelings, if you will.
Best year ever.
Yes, exactly. Get those feelings out of your system.
Yeah.
A lot of the game is this, essentially. It is like an animated feature, a very low-budget animated feature, for obvious reasons, that goes on up until you have a choice to make, and so on and so forth. You don't really have control in what the character does, or where they go, and all of that. It's just a scene-by-scene progression.
And then occasional minigame to say, hey, pay attention.
Yes, I mentioned that the choices you make don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, at least not in a narrative sense. They do in a more thematic, personal exploration sense.
Yeah, most
That
games
also
like...
applies to the music segments.
Yeah, it's understandable not to make too many endings for a game like this, because you practically then make two different games.
Yes,
If you
but
make too
also
many.
the very ambition of trying to make a full cinematic animated visual novel takes time and money, and they definitely shot above their lane in making this game. I respect them for it, but it's clear that a dating sim in this style would be just unsustainable as a project.
Yeah.
So there is also the practical choice of stripping this game down to its essential core and going with it. And it is a better experience because of that,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So anyway, these characters. This is Trish. She's good. She's great. I love her. She's my girl. Respect her. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. She seems perky and spunky.
She loves bugs. And we are in a band together. Yay!
Band news this morning. Like, huge.
That's cool.
Like every birthday
In case
you've ever
I
had
didn't
all
make
at
it clear, that's cool that we are in a band
It's
together.
cake, and I'm definitely listening.
No.
Where is your enthusiasm, man?
Proper band meeting.
Yeah, band. Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
we get to design our logo and choose the songs that we want to play and
Mango.
and comment on the cute bug.
And then the band breaks up when we got in an argument on what kind of music we are playing.
She's my new
No, it's a bit more complicated than that.
She's an anacophora.
To this game's credit.
Sweetest.
Yeah.
Super rare. Rosa and I found her because we
Are you okay?
A special kind of moss.
Just some refluxive acid.
Rosa?
Oh yes, you had a bit of a
Second-grade
flu
science class?
earlier on, didn't you?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, her paper mache volcano.
I hope you're taking care of yourself.
I think Mr.
Yeah,
Brand
yeah.
quit after that.
Anyway,
No, but
Trish has
Rosa
a
is super
new
cool.
friend,
She
but
was
we
like,
are
"Hey,
not
you know,
friend
she
with
knows,
this
like,
new friend
basically
yet.
everything about plants.
So, ooh,
Like, did you know that certain
interpersonal
bug species
drama.
need certain plants not to eat, but so they can reproduce? And they hold their eggs in like a sac inside their bodies.
Sometimes
for months and
Trish
months and months,
is-
and they'll only lay them on this one plant,
well,
and then
she really likes bugs and she overshares. But, you
Yeah.
know, we love her
you
for
would
her
think it, but if
authenticity.
one plant goes away, so do tons of really important bugs.
Sometimes she forgets
Like
there are
Mango,
other
she needs
people
a
around.
super special moss we were looking
Well,
for.
that's more of an
She
issue
was
with our
outside all
protagonist,
day,
if I'm
and
being
because there
honest.
wasn't enough moss anymore, she was just huddled up in a
Yeah.
little termite tunnel all alone, and it was so sad. And now she's mine, and I love her.
By the way,
most.
I mentioned that this is not a dating
Check out
sim,
this video of her slime attack. It
but you
smells so
do
bad,
get
you can
one romantic option.
Good song title. Why'd you call her Mango?
very funny. Like, isn't it obvious?
You get it regardless of the choices you make.
Oh yeah, it's
You
fun.
can, however,
Like her
choose
super hot
to
sassy
just
girl,
remain
like a
friends.
powerful witch goddess.
Hell yeah. Honestly, I was going for more.
Yeah, that's what I did with in Life is Strange. Well, I don't have time to hook up with anyone. I have a world to save.
Jeez. Anyway,
Eh,
I was
I
going
mean, sure. Anyway,
I
so
was going for more of a
I thought
Yes.
that all the characters in this game would be dateable at first,
seriously?
simply because if you go in the menu, if you pause the game and go in the menu screen, there is an affinity chart,
For homeroom.
which I think it might be a perfunctory mechanic that was left from the previous iteration of this game.
I'll be there.
The affinity chart is for
Missed you too.
seeing all the extra scenes that these characters have.
Oh, chum.
And again, those extra scenes do not lead to romance necessarily. But if you really want to hang out more with a character you like, that helps you keep track of what you're doing.
What is it?
You're not gonna believe it.
Anyway, this is Reed.
Excuse me.
The other band member is cool, is the best. We love Reed.
Check out my new quests.
This is Naomi. She's cool. She's okay.
Prepare some fire spells.
You bet you are.
They are talking about this world's version of Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, and by the way, as a neat little detail, there are sessions in this game that are straight up TTRPG.
So,
Basically,
tabletop.
yes, basically the characters gather around on the weekend and play Dungeons and Dragons, the copyright-free version, and those sequences are
as loathsome as high school may seem.
realized in a completely different style to emphasize that they are playing a game within the game. Anyway, it's time to design our band logo. Hooray!
Warm drama.
Yes, that is the name of the band. We didn't get to choose the name of the band. I should point out that this game, on top of it being technically entirely animated, it is also fully voice acted. As such, such elements as the characters' names and the name of the band are by default that.
I'm going to look at the cast.
Yes, that's a good idea. You do that. In the meantime, Feng is here deciding what the logo of the band will be. Because yes, you can, at the very least, customize the logo, and the logo will appear in several moments in the game as you designed it. Which is...
Goodbye Volcano High, was it?
Yes,
Okay,
Goodbye
yeah.
Volcano High, which I think it's a neat option.
Yeah. I haven't played this game, but I have played Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Oh, okay.
And you will be
Do they have anything in common outside of a weirdly similar title?
I mean, start with goodbye, though in different languages.
Is that clear?
That was the joke.
Way too
Haha.
clear.
Excellent. Reed, why don't you
We'll
start
say
us
that
off
you
then?
tried.
Tell us your plans for after graduation. and
Okay,
I'll
I don't
give you your
recognize
first
any of the
line.
voice.
I love
cast.
Reed. Reed, aside from the fact that he's a dinosaur,
My brother's
a
been already
raptor
alright
specifically,
with
he
deliveries these days.
might be a character in
That's all
persona.
we need for that.
Look at him.
And I'd still have time to practice the drums, you know?
I suppose so.
The headphones, the haircut, the tank top.
Who's next?
He could be a character in persona, if you ask me.
Oh no, the file is too big.
No, there is a problem with
Hey,
reception.
you should
apparently.
know by now not to text in my class, yes?
Okay, so there is a mini game here that does not appear anywhere else in the entire visual novel, but essentially you can resist
Hand it over.
the urge of giving away your phone. I didn't know that at the time, but if you click the action button repeatedly, you can carry the little circle on the other choice to the right and not give away your phone. Fight the power, as it were.
It's not working anyway.
Of course, the power in this case being your homeroom teacher,
Same. Like totally dead.
who's not paid enough
Anyone
for
else
this.
care to update us on the fate of your emojis?
Actually, my mom's transistor.
I mentioned that the choices are mostly for flavor.
It sounds like that's.
And in that sense, I would say that the flavor in this game is impeccable.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
When you are presented with dialogue options,
Do feel free to
the way those options, those dialogue lines are aesthetically presented to you,
But you know, it reminds
it
me
is done in
of
such a
our
way that they
cooking
reflect
math
the
classes
emotion behind them,
After graduation,
suggesting what the main character is feeling as they are
What does that have to do with
thinking about what to say.
Nothing. I was just thinking of the.
And again, that's the level of detail. That's a detail that I appreciate about
Well, I'm going
how
on
this
tour
game
with
is
my band.
composed.
Right after graduation. First step. Getting a tour van so we can play shows all over.
So you get a different animation depending on the choice you make there, which I think is
That
neat.
makes sense, of course. What kind of portfolio do you have so far? Or, that's probably not the right word.
We're kind of still cooking, you know.
We've got some stuff in the works.
Well, you still have several months. to
I
get the
just
file
love
ready.
the expression of this teacher.
Oh, it's working again.
She looks extremely tired in general.
Hey, do you have a minute?
Sure, Naomi, what's up?
Yeah, sure, what's up?
I just wanted to say sorry that I put you on the spot. I didn't realize you haven't really made a plan.
The band is the plan, Naomi. Weren't you
Still, It's
listening?
interesting that you want to play music.
Yeah,
You
but
never seemed like the kind of person who would go to university.
you gotta plan all kind of organizing and marketing and stuff.
Yes, I mean, that's what I meant earlier. This character, Fang, is
Awesome.
single-mindedly focused
not yet.
on what the band will do,
We actually
the
do
audition
play
for
shows,
this
you
new
know.
event
You should
that
come see us
will
sometime.
basically
We're about to
guarantee a
blow up.
career if they
Yeah,
make it.
okay.
But their plans for the future might not necessarily coincide with other people's plans, and also, well, some other issues pop up, let's just say.
Yeah.
The worms actually have
Yeah, I have a
tools that
feeling that this electric interference is
and angles and get
is a
this,
mark about something
rotation.
sort of an
So the
unnatural
friends choose
nature
what to make
happening.
it, and we will slide
I'm
it
sure it's
around their
nothing to be
brain.
worried about.
I'm that dude.
Ugh, that is gross.
Ah, it's fine.
Awesome.
Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I'm
Might
sure
have
it's
to steal
fine.
slime net for
So
one of the
fine.
ML characters.
Of course you will.
I just got a new
Ah.
module.
Of
The
course
two
you will.
goobers are mingling.
Yeah.
I ran
They
into
are
Naomi at the
adorable.
library over the summer.
Now that's gross.
She actually had some wild ideas that would totally work.
I
with the whole
cannot
slime
date
thing.
either of these two.
Really?
I'm sad.
Like what?
Play and find out.
Okay, you see the wiggly lines around the dialogue option on the left?
Hey, you guys ready?
That implies
What?
an emotion behind it.
Fang's face to fall off.
What? No.
Wait, what is going on with your face though?
It's the mildest one in terms of emotionality. Sometimes it gets literally on
Man, I almost
fire,
forgotten to moisturize.
or it is broken in
Look,
half
glowing,
if it's
like-
signaling a heartbreak. Or maybe the font gets very small, which means that Fang is
Nope, that's
feeling
not it. You look
the
happy.
self-doubt.
Because I am.
It's little choices like that that I will never be tired of repeating ad infinitum
Nope.
truly make you
Battle of
engaged
what?
in
Wait,
the
are we
flavor
fighting someone?
of your story.
Ha ha. The battle of the bands that we thought.
So if you ever
we'd
do
never
make a
get.
visual novel
'Cause
yourself,
I'm ready
Matti,
to punch.
just keep
Mm.
in mind the flavor
Oh
is
my
everything
God.
sometimes.
Focus. Are you ready?
Yes, definitely.
The flavor is
100%
king.
Super for real.
The presentation
Yeah, but are you gonna tell us?
and the
or-
flavor.
Say
So
the same line but with an angry face.
basically all the choices are the same.
We got an audition
That particular
for Battle
that particular
of
dialogue
the
tree
Bands.
was there to give you the idea of how the character is feeling about
LJ?
the audition. They are excited and they cannot wait to get it out.
No, she just
Yeah, that's a
liked
good
our
way to
song.
approach and
But
such a
LJ
big
hates her songs.
writing process as a visual novel. If you can't make
She
an
does.
multiple endings, then make choices that,
Which one?
while may
Did
not
I
change
write
the
it?
plot, can give different
Feels like you have
nuances
to
to it.
read, Jen.
So if you open
Yeah.
the menu, you get a look at the affinity chart, which looks appropriately enough like a solar system. And you get
Apparently-
access to social media, this parody of Twitter right here,
Yeah.
which, if you are a fan of lore, this is your lore. And also, it works as world building if you're curious about what everybody is thinking about a particular event, or indeed how they react about general things happening, and basically it works like regular Twitter. There's a lot of idiots and a lot of toxicity, but what else is new? This is your second rhythm game. There are a bunch of those. Personally, I am not a fan of this, but that's because I am terrible at rhythm games.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see. Do you need to like press 2 buttons at the same time?
Some
wait,
of the
that's
more complex songs will require me to pay attention to everything that's happening on the screen, and I just cannot do that. My brain cannot do that. There is an accessibility feature that makes the timing more forgiving, but if I'm being perfectly honest with you, Matti, considering that if you do well or not in these segments doesn't really matter, because the plot advances in one direction regardless, all that's different is that you get a slightly diverse choice of dialogue afterwards if you did poorly, but otherwise it doesn't really matter. As such, methinks that when and if they update this game, they should just add a skipping option for these scenes.
Yeah.
That at least would be my personal preference. Because I did replay this game multiple times because I wanted to see all the extra scenes with the characters. Hopefully unlock all the photos. You know?
But if they are removed, then there's no more game.
I didn't really buy this game to play a guitar. I bought this game because I was invested in the aesthetic.
Obviously I'm messing
I
it
was
up. You
invested
can
in the
imagine your parts.
potential exploration and theming
Wait, just wait until you hear
about
the
these
whole thing. I need
characters
more
and their
first.
world. I was just
No, it was
invested in the
awesome.
idea of it.
It's really different.
Really different.
Okay, so the plot still continues if you mess up the
Yes.
rhythm sections.
Like I said, the only difference that you get is a slightly
You really
altered
hate it that
choice
much?
of dialogue.
No, not what he meant.
Wow, you did really
No,
good.
it just
Well,
doesn't
you
sound like
didn't
our
do
stuff.
as good, but you win
Yeah,
anyway.
It doesn't sound like
These
Space
are
Tavern
the
or
choices.
Vintage Sex
Those are so old. I wrote
So
them when I was,
during
like,
the summer
14.
break, Fang has
It's
been
kind of
working on
cringy.
a few new
Plus,
songs that
LJ
are
hated it.
a very different
LJ is just
style
one person.
compared to what
One
the
pretty
usual
person.
flavor of music is for this band. And they did it mostly to,
She's one person.
first of all,
who is connected to everything.
they
music
tried
in this
to
town.
make music that
We've
would
been
be more
trying to play Battle
appealing,
of the Bands
not
for
just to
years.
themselves,
Whoever
but
wins,
also to
Yeah, I hear ya.
the
Come
local
on, at Caldera
shop
Fest, they pay
owner,
money to play
manager
music in front of
slash
1,000 people.
music industry
Exactly,
person
it's
that's
huge.
basically
we'd get real money to start
giving
the big
them the
tour.
audition for
Can
the
we
Battle of the
really learn
Bands.
all new songs, though? I mean, read
And,
my
Okay,
mind.
yeah.
They didn't tell
Notice
their
that.
bandmates,
Every
but
contest needs a loser.
so now they are a bit taken aback that they are not as enthusiastic about it as
What
they
we
are.
were playing wasn't working.
So there is a bit
LJ
of a
literally
small
told me exactly
friction,
that.
the
And
seeds
she's gotten,
of
what,
potential
like a
conflict
dozen bands
being
from this town
planted
signed?
this early on,
Real
in a way
contracts,
that's
real tours.
fairly realistic, all things
And she's
considered.
why everyone loves Swamp Babies. Which is like, ugh,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
No one plays the same songs forever. Things
This is
change.
a very
They all
grounded
just rot.
story about
Well, hey,
being
we
a
got us our first
teenager
real shot, right?
on the cusp of adulthood, It's
That's
just that the characters
audition.
are cartoon
Next
dinosaurs.
What?
Whoa.
And also, it's all happening
I
on
haven't
the
practiced all
backdrop
summer.
of
My
a
work did
bigger
not
event.
like my guitar. Or actually, it did.
Yeah,
Maybe some bugs like
yeah.
to, like,
Did
get
I
inside of it.
think I made from
We can
trailer the
start practicing
connection
now.
this that these are dinosaurs?
We're all gonna
Let's
play
save
L&L
that
this
for later, Matti.
Who
Put a
is?
pin on that.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Me, Rosa, Sage.
Oh,
I'm good
Rosa
at
can
reading
read.
stories before they happen.
She just texted me.
Sweet. Naomi's playing too.
You want in this time?
Sure, Matti, I have media literacy as well.
If you're gonna be
Okay,
there,
so
I'm in.
this choice I just made is the one that will determine whether I get an extra scene with Trish
I have a character
or
all ready
Reed
for you.
after school.
A dark mage. Very cool.
Sometimes you get specific individual dialogue options that
Trust me. This is gonna be
basically will
amazing.
give you access to moments like that.
Yeah.
The most important ones, quote unquote, have an extra layer of access in which you have to press down the 2 trigger buttons and squeeze, and then the choice is made and you cannot take it back. Which, honestly, they made it sound more important than what they actually are. That is not to say your choices don't matter. They matter at a personal, intimate level. They just don't matter in the grand scheme of things, because, as I said multiple times, there is only one way the story ends.
Yeah.
In this game, both in this game and in real life.
Yeah.
Well, all the non-school.
Yeah, I was looking at the what stuff the actors have done, and did notice that the voice actress of Trish is also the voice of Alex Van in Half-Life Alyx.
Well, that's neat. That's nice to know.
Ozioma Agaga.
What about the voice actor for Fang?
Fang.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Fang, Lachlan Watson.
Oh, check this out. I wanted you to hear this song. I've been obsessed with this band all summer.
If I am not mistaken, I do believe that the cast of voice actors reflects the characters that they play. And if that's the case, then the voice actor for Fang is also non-binary, but I could be wrong.
Could you send me that?
Hold on,
Duh.
let me check.
I only missed you a little bit.
I missed you a microscopic amount.
I had merely an atom of emotion related to you.
Meanwhile, these two are going at it in the classic
I forgot.
Okay, yeah, they.
exchange.
Yeah, got it.
Yes, that's what I wanted to be sure about this. In fact, there is a character later on whom is
Send me that.
trans boy, and in fact, it's coming out right now, and he's also voiced by a trans man. So, this game went out of its way to have good, grounded representation for their largely queer cast, to the point that all the voice actors also reflect who these characters are in terms of gender identity.
Wait. Who is that? Do
Which
we
is an
know them?
effort that I
I
appreciate.
don't remember being friends with a gorgeous.
Anyway, so
What?
the one on the left is Sage, and he's the best character. I love him so much. I want to, I don't know, adopt him.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He is the best, and I'm really, 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 really sad there's only an handful of scenes with him, because he's the best, he's my favorite, I love him so much.
Wow. I really
Okay,
missed
yeah. Lot of favorites you have.
Yes, I mean, everybody in this cast is very good, including Stella on the right. It's just that certain characters had more priority over the others in terms of screen time and narrative momentum. Most of this game is about Fang confronting Trish about what their
It got us an audition.
plans are for the future and what their passion is and all that.
Hello, fame
So there are only few scenes with secondary characters that you might want to spend more time with otherwise.
Kill it. I know it.
But the scenes you do get with the likes of Sage, Stella, Rosa, and all of that, they
Yeah.
all feel very meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And
Probably when they changed this, gave up on the dating sim idea, they had to cut a lot of content.
yes,
in order
they
to make it-
did. Again, I was sad to find out that I couldn't get more scenes with Sage, but as I said, I think they have, these two, Fang and Sage, have one optional exchange that's very easy to get, by the way, in which they talk about their feelings and being trans and their experience. Sage pours his heart out because he's a trans boy, but also he presents in a way that's not traditionally masculine.
How does it work? Okay.
So
I'm gonna
he
draw
has
it.
a hard time being taken seriously by his family.
But for now, we're just gonna stick with choosing one
And
card.
that's
Choose your
and
card.
that I think is
Idea in mind that you want an answer for.
probably one of the best scenes in this game. Anyway, we are about to get our future read to us because Stella is also
Ready. Yay! Now pick a card.
amateur tarot reader, as it were.
Okay.
So you do get
What does
different choices of cards here, depending on which option you chose earlier. I am being predicted a possible romantic partner. Again, not the one I want.
It's a card all about communication and harmony.
I mean, at some point, when you meet the right one, you have to have the courage to say, sorry, but I'm already taken.
Yes, like I said, there is only one romantic option for you, and it is a romantic option that the game is very much pushing for you to choose. And at the end of it all, you can just choose to be friends or to pursue them romantically.
They're balanced.
And like I said, this character is fine.
So,
I like them very much.
one's your way. Don't forget
They are just my least favorite is all. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, but if you're a fan of them, and I am using them to not give away who they are in case you haven't played this game.
Subconscious thing. You project your own meaning onto these things. I don't know your life. And
If you're a fan of the person I'm talking about, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I mean, fundamentally, there's
Oh.
nothing wrong with them. They are fine, but they are also the least interesting character in the entire cast, personally.
Oh, so Naomi.
Stella.
Okay, I wasn't going to say it, but
Well,
you said it.
Well, yeah, she was the only character you said that she's just okay.
There is a very specific reason why I think Naomi is merely okay.
Gotta go.
And that's because a huge part of how the game builds towards the potential romance between these two is through a plot device that I personally find dubious at best, problematic at worst.
Okay.
And I'm not going to expand on that because I think we are accidentally spoiling a bit too much from this game already. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, this isn't really about spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I mean,
Some
the
say that
narrative,
it's,
the story is not really about spoilers. It's very predictable where the story goes. It is about
some say it's a sign of a good writer if you're able to guess some of the twists beforehand.
Again, it's not about the twist, the spoilers, the narrative direction, which are all very predictable. No, what matters the most here is the experience and the emotion in display, and those are elements that I will not spoil to you. By the way, in editing, I will put a big content warning before the kitchen scene. Content warning for dead naming.
I hope so. We need more pictures, though.
Because
At the moment,
their parents,
just age.
their mother specifically, has not yet come around on the whole "my name is Fang now"
Okay.
debacle. Anyway, we were trying to go unnoticed, but alas, they noticed us, so now we have to entertain them with music.
Dinosaurs just helping me with the student life pages layout.
And before you ask, no, this scene is not skippable.
Wait, do you have any pictures of your band?
Yeah, I suppose none of the scenes are skippable.
Oh,
in
no,
this
no,
kind of-
obviously not.
Right.
So, upon replaying this game,
Seen anything?
and by that I mean it was pretty obvious from the start,
The yearbook. Oh, and maybe someone could
you
show
can
pictures if you were there too.
immediately notice that Naomi has a huge crush on
When?
Fang.
I had no idea.
It becomes a lot more obvious later on, and upon replaying this game,
But we'll get it.
you might
We'll
notice,
play the Battle of the
you
Bands.
might have an eye,
Oh, and then you can use the
you might be able to
material
notice
again.
the nuanced
Your tour band?
elements of her behavior around Fang that pretty much give away the fact that she has a huge crush.
I'm going on tour with Trish and Reed in the summer with my graduation money. It's not a big deal.
It's a super big deal.
Maybe.
So this is a nice little detail. The game gives you the illusion of choice by giving you these insulting names for your song, and then takes the choice away from you because the main character is exercising agency. Their own agency on the matter.
Just something to work on.
Which
Here goes.
which I think is very interesting. And it is
Yeah,
a subtle nod to the fact that you don't really have a choice in anything you do.
I mean, yeah, the other choices would have been out of character for them.
Well, not necessarily. They were thinking those things. It's just that they had the good sense to keep them to themselves. To be cordial. To have some sort of social awareness. Which actually gives them strength as a character because it shows that they have their own agency in spite of being placed in the literal and figurative position of not having the possibility of choice. Having choice literally taken away from them. And that
Yeah.
works both on a narrative and meta-narrative sense.
Yeah, very different from something like Dreamfall chapters where you can have multiple choices and each option the character who is about to say them explains to themselves why this would be a logical choice to say. And all of them, while they may be vastly different from each other, have a reason for that character to say or choose.
So, the priority that the writers and game developers of this game had was to make Fang their own realized characters regardless of the flavorful dialogue options
Really good.
you get to say.
I just meant that.
Yeah.
They chose to make them a fully realized character instead of a self-insert for the player, which would be how the regular visual novel format works.
True.
Yeah,
You never really
but there's no scenes like at one point Fang faces the player as like, you don't control me anymore.
What was it?
No, they don't do that to the player.
I can see you!
But I will say, every option and dialogue option presented to you, even if they are completely antithetic to each other, they still feel like something Fang would say. And that means that they had a firm grasp on the character and what they want them to be. None of the choices feel out of character, now that the character is actually established as a character. Again, a point of comparison is May Borowski from Night in the Woods.
Yeah, I haven't played that game.
You should. It's one of the most important games of all time, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Thanks for thinking of that.
Right then, so they are in a good mood. The performance was well liked. That was a boost to their ego.
Mm.
Feeling slightly less socially awkward.
I just thought it was good.
Don't forget to send me pictures. Sure, why not? Also, an important choice that was made back then, well, important in quotation marks. Our brother, Nasser, recorded us playing, and he asked if he could send the recorded performance on to their parents. We said yes. This leads to a different dialogue exchange somewhere later on. Anyway, Dino Gang chat! Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! This is our interactions, basically.
Talking about nothing.
Listen, don't get me started. The Team Yuma chat is basically almost exclusively corporate VTuber gossip talk.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bit annoying. Now, I love VTubers. I follow literally hundreds of VTubers. None of them are corporate twats. There, I said it. Anyway, speaking of VTubers, some VTubers are 2D live models, which means they are rigged puppets, which brings me to the style of animation in this game, which is entirely 2D, and the characters are 2D rigged puppets. This is what we old school animation fans used to refer to as the Flash style animation, which has evolved a lot over the years. Now it's just known as puppet animation. And
Back
it
in
is
the day, it was called rotoscoping.
No, you're mistaken. I am talking specifically about the technique that was introduced by programs such as Adobe Flash that allows you to create 2D models of characters with limited articulation, expressions, and movement. And that saves on the animation process. Now, that is the most mainstream form of animation when it comes to TV budget shows. Basically, every character is a rigged puppet nowadays. It's just that it's a lot more subtle than when it used to be back in the day. On the other hand, the animation in this game is a bit stilted and awkward. Which actually brings me back in time to that period in which it was actually that awkward to behold 20 years ago.
So this is closer to motion capturing.
No. Okay, listen. You are completely off track. I'm going to try and explain here. So the technique of rotoscoping, since you brought it up, will have artists basically tracing over live-action footage. In practice, in the shortest way possible, that's the explanation of what rotoscoping is. Motion capture is the spiritual successor of rotoscoping, but where they put sensors on the actor and then they construct a model with the computer, a 3D model. This is 2D puppet, rigged puppet animation, which means that the animators use a program to create models, 2D models from scratch, and then they will use those models, the main modus operandi of the animation industry in today's world. It is faster to do than frame by frame. Do you recall all those Flash-style cartoons from back in the day?
I think I've seen some of them.
Lots of them were bad Canadian cartoons. Do you remember My Little Pony?
You mean the
Friendship is Magic. Yes, that was, I should say, the Flash-style animation. The Flash program has been dead for a while, but there are a lot of programs nowadays, such as Toon Boom, that can emulate that style of work. Again, it's called 2D rigged puppet animation, formerly known as a misnomer as Flash animation. You can look it up later.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was confused because you compare it to VTubing, and VTubing have the real humans doing the
Yes, they do,
stuff.
but at the same time, I referred to 2D live models, which have that rigged puppet animation, and they are made in that similar fashion. It's just that they move along with their human host. So it's a combination between the two technologies, if you think about it. 2D rigged puppetry and motion capture.
I have presidential duties.
It's the point in which the two techniques, the technology advances to the point that they merge with each other and they become widely available.
What'd they say?
Well, it was Mom, but she said, "My brilliant and talented children." And one of those free emojis of her sending a kiss. I wish I hadn't shown her how to do that.
I didn't expect her to like it. Huh. That's cool.
Why wouldn't she like it? It's really good.
Well, whenever I talk about music stuff, they both just kind of shut down. Or say something like, "Oh, we're so glad you have meaningful hobbies." Or, "My favorite is when they're like..."
Oh, yeah, I'm recognizing this conversation that they are currently having.
We're not creative at all.
In what way?
I mean, yeah, that acting thing isn't really working out for you, it seems.
Oh, you can relate with that.
Yeah. You should be focused more on singing.
Yes, well, listen. Nazer is a good bean. He has our best interests at heart. He's supportive, but he's also placed in the awkward position of being a middle ground between you and the parents, whom have in turn placed all of their expectations on him. So, yes, the situation is a bit complicated.
Yeah.
Also, he's your younger brother. I should point this out, because I thought he was the older sibling because he seemed more mature at first, but no, he is the younger one. Anyway, asteroid!
Oh,
An
yeah.
asteroid is coming! Surprise!
Ah, so this is what happened 65 million years ago.
Yes, I mean, now you know why these characters are dinosaurs, and now you understand what I was alluding to with events outside of somebody's control. It is not about what you do. It is not about the plans you make, but rather the people that you meet and what's precious to you. You don't really have a choice in events outside of your control, and it's frustrating, infuriating. There is also an obvious metaphor here. You have an asteroid, which is the literal embodiment of the anxiety and fear of the future, and also the embodiment of the rage and frustration of being handed a world that's doomed to die and you're only a teenager. I think you might correlate that with certain real-life topics. A little bit. But again, the asteroid and the imminent doom is the backdrop, the context by which the narrative unfolds, and this is ultimately a story about teens figuring themselves out and holding on to what's precious to them, decisively reconfiguring what their priorities in life should be, being better people for it, making the most of the time they have left. It is, in a way, a film that has a lot in common with a lot of end-of-the-world cinema. A random example that comes to mind is 444 The Last Day on Earth by Abel Ferrara, starring Willem Dafoe, which is basically a midlife crisis film happening with the backdrop of the end of times. So yes, this is a very interesting game. This was a very interesting game that I have chosen to showcase to you, and it's one of my top games of the year. And its minimalist approach to choice and narrative and theming really makes it stand out across an enormous sea of visual novels. I feel confident to say that there isn't a game out there that looks quite like this one.
Yeah,
a fully animated, a fully or semi-animated visual novel with a unique art direction, and it definitely stands out. To me and to a lot of other people, if you ask me. It is definitely the best queer dinosaur video game I've ever played.
It does look unique.
It does look unique, and yes, I like it very, very much. So I definitely recommend it. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. I have been Madhog, Thy Master.
And I've been Hedonistic Actor.
Yes. You should really consider focusing on singing.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there, one way or the other, and it never gets easier. Now does it? Most relatable game of 2023, hashtag, and all that. Yes, we're all sad because we live in a society, and also we're all going to die. So relatable, you guys. So relatable.
I mean, yeah, we are biological organisms, of course we are going to die.
I was referring to the more imminent threat of not climate change.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall into that mindset. I would be a miserable person as a pessimist.
Yes, in fact, it's also one of the points that the game goes out of its way to make. Holding on to hope and love and friendship with all your might, in spite of how uncaring the universe is, or indeed the people who govern us, is one of the strongest points that the game makes, and it definitely resonates strongly with me. Anyway, so we are done for tonight. This has been Madhog and Matig's Gaming Dissertations. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time talking about a game I like. And yes, be nice to each other, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
What about all the things we said? And I won't forget, no I won't forget, no I won't forget, no I won't forget. forget.